Hello everyone, I'm the Saxy Gamer. Today we're here for yet another episode of Civilization VI Tips, where today we're going to be talking about selecting your starting location and settling your first city, and the things to consider whenever you're picking where you're going to settle, and such things like that. So, for the sake of things, I'm going to leave everything on standard, and it's just going to be on continents map type. I've just I guess we'll just go random later, because, you know, it doesn't really matter too much. But, let's go ahead and start. So, the leader actually is moderately important, just because you have to consider some things about your leader in order to get a proper spawn location. So right here we have Nubia. So Nubia, for instance, really likes to be at least somewhat close to desert, because Nubia can make use of desert. Most leaders would not normally be able to make as much use of desert as Nubia would, so that is something to take into account. So let's go ahead and click begin. Okay, so this spawn. The first thing that you want to do whenever you start a game, it's probably one of the most important things to get good at Civ 6 and to be able to do things, is to just press Y and turn on the yield icons. You also could do it down here in map options. Make sure that you're turning on your yield icons, because if you don't have your yield icons on, then you really just, it's so hard to know what to do. So this spawn is pretty atrociously bad. We are Nubia, so we do get desert, and what Nubia gains from desert is Nubian pyramids, which can give +1 faith, food from adjacent city centers, and additional yields from adjacent districts. So we could make use of these tiles, but in general it's not going to be very helpful, just because everything else around us is pretty terrible. So let's talk about some of just the most important and most general things that you want in a game. So first, one of the really big things you want is a source of fresh water. So you can see this in your settler lens. All like the dark green ones are fresh water, and that's going to make it so that you get +3 housing in that city. So luckily we do actually have fresh water here, because we're next to an oasis, so you can get fresh water from lakes, rivers, and oases. Coast does not provide fresh water. It does provide coastal water, which is still +1 housing, but not fresh. And also, since this is next to coast and fresh water, I don't believe that they stack up, so like we won't get +4 housing from settling here. So that's the first thing that you want to check for, is fresh water. You want fresh water, so you want to be on a river, you want to be next to an oasis, or you want to be next to a lake. As far as that's concerned, we're good. The next thing you want to think about is the tile that you're standing on. So whenever you settle in Civ 6, what happens is that the settler will try, I don't know why I moved that guy, the settler is going to try to make the tile into a 2 food, 1 production tile. So if I had settled over here, we would still get a little bit of extra food. If I had settled maybe on one of these tiles, it would still be a 2-1 tile. The big exception there, though, is Plains Hill. So I believe we are on Plains Hill. Yes, we are. So yeah, if you hover over, you can see exactly what the tile is. And there is jungle, but it'll get cleared when we settle. So Plains Hill is the exception, in that when you settle on Plains Hill, the tile that you're on will be a 2-2 tile. So it's still going to be better than any 2-1 that you're able to settle on, and I would highly recommend trying to settle on Plains Hills if you can. The only thing that's better than settling on Plains Hills, though, is settling on Plains Hills with a luxury resource, because the luxury will stay there, and you'll get the additional yields from the luxury as well. So if you're able to settle on Plains Hills with a luxury, if it's a really good luxury like spices or maybe truffles or something like that, then it's definitely worth it, even a turn 2 settle to get that. So yeah, so the second thing you want to look out for is what tile do you want to settle on. Plains Hills, very good. Plains Hills with a luxury, even better. And also, you still want to make sure that you're next to fresh water as well. So the other thing then you want to consider is, what are the tiles around you like? So the most important ones are the ones that are in a 1 tile radius away from your settler, because those are going to be the ones that you get first. So if we settle right here right now, which let's just go ahead and do it, you'll see that we get the first radius of tiles, and these tiles are not particularly good. So one thing you want to watch out for is dead tiles. And dead tiles are things that either have really just atrociously bad yields, or that you cannot put any improvements on. So desert tiles, for the most part, would be dead tiles. It is a little bit different because we are playing Nubia. But desert tiles, for the most part, coast tiles are also dead tiles. The exception there would be the ones that have resources on them. So desert, coast, mountain tiles that you obviously can't work at all, just because they don't give anything. Desert hills can be okay, but only if you have Petra. So generally, you really want to avoid desert, unless you're playing someone like Egypt or Nubia that could get some bonuses from that. So yeah, so you want to check that to make sure that you have the least number of dead tiles that you possibly can, because you're just not going to be getting like any yields out of them. Ideally, what you want to do is you want to have at least one luxury or bonus resource that's in your first ring of tiles, because then those tiles will have additional yields such as gold or culture or faith or something like that, and you can get that by working the tile, or maybe they'll just have extra production or something like that with spices. So yeah, you want to try to make sure that you're going to have some extra resources that are in the first ring of your tiles, because that is really important towards getting your city started. And then the last thing I think that you want to look for is district adjacency opportunities. So here, we obviously can't get any campus adjacency. I guess we can get a little bit from this rainforest, but we'll end up probably chopping the rainforest in the end. But we couldn't get any campus adjacency. We could get commercial hub adjacency because there is a river here. We could get harbor adjacency. This would be a pretty decent harbor right here because it would be adjacent to the city center and to this this sea resource. So we could get a decent harbor here. As far as a industrial zone is concerned, not too much, not very much that's good. We could put one there, but that'd only be a +2. Holy site, once again, absolutely nothing that we could get for a holy site here. So really our district adjacency, we're really limited to commercial hub or harbor, and both of those are pretty terrible. I guess we could get a little bit of a theater square if we put it next to other districts, but that's just kind of the theater square in general. So yeah, in general, you want to look out for where you can put districts, where you can get district adjacency, and for this spawn, it's terrible. So let's go ahead and restart and take a look at another spawn. And we'll just kind of go through the process again and see what it looks like. Maybe, I don't know if it re-rolls your leader. It does. Okay, Wilhelmina. This is a really good one to kind of judge things. So Wilhelmina is unique in that she gets major adjacency bonus for campus, theater squares, and industrial zones if built next to a river. She also has the polder, which can only be built on tiles that are next to so many other land tiles. They have to be built on water, so that's lakes or coast. And this spawn it's still not fantastic, but it is definitely better than the last one. So right off the bat, you can see that we are on Plains Hills, so that's a good thing. We are along freshwater, and that's a good thing. The fact that this is a river is another good thing for Wilhelmina, because that means we're going to be getting our district adjacency for putting our districts next to these. We actually do have lake as well, which lakes are really good because you can pretty much always put polders on lakes. So that is another very good thing. And if you're ever wondering what like a Civ special district or special tile improvement is, feel free to go ahead and check out the leader spotlights that I have for all of the leaders, because I go over what each leader has. So yeah, we have good spots for polders. We do have a river. We don't have very much other adjacency, like we don't have mountains for campuses or holy sites. We do have a little bit of woods for our holy sites and a little bit of rainforest for our campuses, but overall it's not going to be too good. As far as resources are concerned, we do have wheat here. Wheat just gives one more food to the tile, so wheat can be a little bit nice. We do have diamonds as well. But unfortunately, we can't settle on the diamonds because they're not next to the river. So I would not take myself away from fresh water, unless that is another river up there. You can always check the settler then. So yeah, the diamonds are not on fresh water, so that would not be a good tile to settle on. So this settling in place here would probably be our best bet. One thing to mention is that you generally do not want to settle on bonus resources, because unlike luxuries that will stay there and give you the bonus, if you settle on a bonus resource, it'll just go away as if it's been harvested. So you'll literally get no bonus. It'll be as if that tile is just a normal plains tile if we settle there. So here, I'll show that just for the purpose of demonstration. So you see we have wheat here, and if we settle, the wheat goes away, and it makes this a 2-1 tile as your city likes to do. So yeah, we also do have spices over here, which spices are quite nice, because they do add production to the tile. So spices are a very good thing to have. We do have the diamonds in here, and yeah, so this spawn was a little bit better. It's a nice thing to just kind of look at, being able to get your civilization's unique tile improvement down, or maybe playing towards some of the district adjacency that the civilization gets as a whole. So let's go ahead and look at one more spawn, just to go through this all again. And let's see who we get this time. Brazil, okay, that's another quite unique one, just because Brazil gets additional district adjacency for campuses, commercial hubs, holy sites, and theater squares for being next to rainforest tiles. So that is another thing that you want to look out for Brazil, is that generally if you're playing as Brazil and you have no rainforest, that's really bad. Okay, well this is a really good spawn, not necessarily for Brazil, but so I'll just move the warrior out here. So this is a pretty good spawn. We're not on Plains Hill, which isn't great, but if we settle here, then we will get a 2-1 tile. it wouldn't be that great to move up to this hill just because that would get rid of the stone, and then that would generally be a little bit bad. The other thing is, in the one radius, or the one tile radius of our city right now, we have marble, so we could work that tile, we could improve that tile, so we definitely want to have that in right away, because that can give us a little bit of extra culture, just get a few of these early civics real fast, and that's generally a good thing. So we are on fresh water. We do have a luxury within the one tile radius. Sure, we're not on Plains Hill. We don't really have Plains Hill around though, so that's unfortunate. There does appear to be a little bit of rainforest down here, which is good for Brazil. We have a mountain here that we could maybe use for campus or holy site adjacency. It looks like right here there's some forest as well, so we could put a holy site there, and it would benefit from the mountain and from the forest over here. So that is a good thing. There are plenty of hills around, and plenty of hills means plenty of production. So if you're thinking about going for a science victory or something like that, you could definitely look at that as possibility for a really good industrial zone. So we could perhaps place an industrial zone right here, and that would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 adjacency industrial zone if we had placed it there. So that would be a pretty good spot. Also, if you're looking for these maps, this is from a mod called MapTax. I'll link it in the video description below, but it's really helpful for planning, especially if you're in the early game. So if I had gotten this spawn in a game that I was just casually playing, I would probably settle right in place, just because I would get the marble in my tiles right away. I have decent like campus adjacency up here because I have the mountain here, and I also do have one rainforest. I could maybe get a holy site over there as well. We have a river for a commercial hub, and we have a pretty good industrial zone spot as well. So overall, this is quite a good spawn, and it's probably one that I would definitely take. So yeah, those are just some things to consider whenever you're looking to settle your first city in Civ 6. There's definitely a lot more things that you can consider, but it's more so just a thing of getting a feel for what you want to do in a game. So if you're going for a culture victory or something of the sort, hills aren't going to be that important because you don't care about production as much, or same thing with like religion. But maybe if you're going domination, you're going to be looking to see if you have anybody that's like very close to you, like a city-state or something of the sort. So it does fall partly on your own personal preference as to what you like, because there also can be cases where you simply have too many hills or not enough hills. So if you have too many hills, then you can't get enough farms and your city can't grow as much. But if you don't have enough hills, then you're not going to be able to get as much production, and you're not going to be able to build things very quickly. So it really just comes down to what you like. But yeah, just the main things to take away are, step 1 is to look for your source of fresh water. Make sure you have that, because that's going to be really important for making sure that your cities have adequate housing. Step 2 is to look for the tile that you're on. So Plains Hill is very good. Plains Hill with a luxury is even better. One thing I didn't check is, okay, yeah, so that doesn't have coastal or fresh water, so that's not worth it. So yeah, Plains Hill, very good. Plains Hill with a luxury next to fresh water, even better. And then you want to look at the tiles that are in a 1 tile radius of your city. You generally want to have at least 1 resource in there, whether it's bonus or luxury. Luxury is always a little bit better because the yields tend to be a little bit better for those. So in this case, we actually have 3 that are in our 1 tile radius, so this is very good. And then you just want to look for the tiles that are further surrounding and look for possible district adjacency. So as we said here, we could probably get an industrial zone there because that would be quite high adjacency. We could probably get a campus right there because it would get adjacency from the mountain and from the rainforest. If we wanted to get a holy site, we could probably put it here because it would get adjacency from the campus and from the woods over here. And then we could probably just toss a commercial hub somewhere around here as well. So yeah, that's the last thing you want to look for, is your district adjacencies. And once you get used to doing that, then it'll be a lot easier to start games, because getting a proper spawn is honestly the hardest part of a Civ game for me, because as long as I'm able to get started in a game, then I should be fine for like throughout the game. But if I have a bad start and I don't have a good spawn location, it can just be a nightmare, especially on deity when the AI gets so many bonuses in the early game that you don't have. Having a proper spawn location is something that's very important. So hopefully these tips helped you. So thank you everyone for watching. I've been the Saxy Gamer. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you're looking for more Civilization 6 content, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.